So good evening and welcome to everybody. We're here to watch a winners qualification game between Ronan McCarthy and Adam Davis. You're watching Beard Productions. This is the Supreme Series and it's event 3. All of the games are currently in action. You can catch up with all of the scores on qscore.com, but we will keep you updated at periods throughout this game. I'm joined on commentary by Alex Bailey. Afternoon, Alex.
My pleasure to be here, Nick.
Or evening, actually. It's 10 to 7. I've been getting that wrong all day today. Could be something to do with a late night last night, I think.
We'll say no more about that. So,
what's your early thoughts on this game? Two players from very different backgrounds, one from IPA, one from EPA. And they both have a solid World Rules Foundation,
definitely
World
so,
Rules
yes.
background, but Ronan's obviously gone across the blackboard and they're both playing this new rule set. Who do you think's got the edge?
It's very hard to call an edge, I think, to be honest with you, Nick. Obviously, Adam's in such perfect form at the moment, and with obviously his recent results at the Worlds and getting to the semi-finals, and I think he had a pretty good run in the Masters as well. Obviously, Ronan's just, as you said earlier, such a wily campaigner, as you use quite regular in your earlier commentary, and I think it really could be, as most of these games are, to be fair, on the break to a certain extent. It's hard to call a winner, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's hard to find another way to describe Ronan, to be honest. I mean, he's got so much experience. We were talking about the Jamie Burnett game, and obviously Jamie off the back of beating Tom Cousins. But Ronan's just a whole different animal. He's just got such an amazing pool brain.
Yeah, definitely so.
It's not the kind of opponent that Jamie's going to find easy.
No, not at all. I mean, even though, as you know, with regards to the rule set and it being such an attacking rule set, to be honest with you, compared to such world rules, and obviously the IPA rules being blackball, but with Ronan, he somehow still manages to find a safety shot. He still managed to obviously, do something that can really, stump his opponent to a certain extent. Yeah. Even with this rule set, where players like myself, I find that a bit difficult. I find myself in a bit of a situation most of the time where I think, well, I think I need to try and take these out. Whereas Ronan will play a shot, and you think, well, I didn't see that myself, and it's something that just completely changes the character of the game, and before you know it, he's put them in all sorts of trouble. So, like you say, with regards to his knowledge and experience, it's unrivaled to a certain extent, and but he's got his work cut out against Adam. As I mentioned, Adam's not been a world champion for nothing. I think he's got an edge at the moment in terms of performance from what I've seen. I think from the games I've actually seen played so far, in my opinion, I think Adam looks in a bit better form. But Ronan could turn it on at any time, I think, and it could sway either side really.
Adam probably goes under the radar slightly when they do have Calcuttas and the bookmakers' prizes, etc. He sometimes just maybe flies under the radar, where actually, I mean, he's already made a semi-final. Did he make a couple of semi-finals? I can't remember, but he's always there at the business end.
Definitely so.
And he's just such a hard opponent to get off the table.
Yeah. Yeah, he's very, very strong when he's on the table, and even when he's off the table. I mean, something that I've always been quite impressed with Adam when I've played. I've had the unfortunate event of playing him myself. He's got a very good mentality, and he's quite strong in that respect as well.
Yeah.
So even when when you think he's down and out, all of a sudden he gets his head on in his back straight in the game, and he can rattle off 3 or 4 frames before he's back in contention with the match or in the lead. And I think that's something that some players don't have, but there's a lot of players that obviously do. And we always talk about when a player's got that mentality, in my opinion, it's a huge advantage for themselves, as well as the natural ability that they seem to possess as well.
So their path through so far is Adam beat John Rowe in the first round, and then winners round 1. He beat Dom Cooney, who's an informed player, obviously a recent world finalist.
Yep.
Who got beaten by Mick Hill in the final.
Who beat Adam in the semi-final, actually.
Adam in the semi-final, yeah. And from Ronan's perspective, played the Gloucesterman Richard Gifford and beat him 11-2 in the first round. And we mentioned played Jamie Burnett and beat him 11-7 in the second round. So it's a path to this point through to winners qualification. There's still some games left over in losers round 3. Greg Batten's currently 6-4 up against Harjeet Singh. Tom Cousins is just edging it against Josh Kane 5-4. Brian Halcro's through, Chris Day's through, Jack Whelan's through. Liam Dunstan now 7 each against Craig Marsh. And Gareth Hibbett is 5-4 against Sean Story. So Gareth, well, he had his back against the wall in his previous game against Johan Attard. He came through against a Hill game, but he's still there battling away.
He took an excellent finish out as well to make sure he won that match.
Dom Cooney beat Steve Petty. Steve Petty had to forfeit yesterday because he felt ill, and he turned up today for his game, but he's now on his way back down the motorway. Jamie Burnett beat Josh Juhaz. Oli Bell beat Scott Gillespie. That's twice.
Yeah, he was talking to me in the bar about that.
That's twice in 3 events. That I mean, Scott will be sick of the sight of Oli by now. He knocked him out on the winner's side in event 1, and now he's knocked him out again, 8-7. And I got a feeling, I can't remember the exact score, but I think Scott was like 7-4 in that game.
Yeah, I think he was in the lead. Just been talking to Ollie in the bar, actually. I've not really had much time to speak to Ollie, in all fairness, but he mentioned obviously 9-10 years out of the game, and he's got a table back in his home now, and he's starting to put the practice back in, and he thinks that's what's making the difference at the moment, to be honest with you. So who knows? I think he's definitely more than capable. As another bullet, as they call him, he seems to be firing again now, which is good for everyone, really. He's obviously a very informed player at the present time, so could see some shocks, even more so with himself beating Scott Gillespie. In this particular match, it's been Adam that struck first. So he took the first frame.
Just to finish up those losers round games, Neil Raybone is 7-3 up against Ryan Clark. Winners qualification games, there's 8 of those currently underway. Clint Hanson 2 each with Sam Bircher. Phil Harrison 1 each with Shane Thompson. Declan Brennan 3-0 against John McAllister. Jimmy Croxton 2-1 against Carl Boys. That's a rerun of event 2's final. And Jimmy currently in the lead. Jimmy in a rich vein of form at the moment, and showing that final wasn't a fluke, and just got his nose in front in that winners qualification game. Drew Hughes 2-1 up against Darren McVicker. Mark Ball 3-0 against Dave Fernandez. Dave Fernandez did a bit of a hatchet job on Scott Gillespie, 11-4 in the previous winners qualification game, but he trails the other Scotsman, Mark Ball. Mark Ball getting revenge for his countrymen. And still to get underway is Liam White against Leiden de Bono. They're waiting for table 11 to clear, which is currently hosting Tom Cousins and Josh Kane. So that gets us up to date with all of the other scores, and as I say, if you want to keep up with those yourself, it's qscore.com, and you can search for the Strachan Cup or the Supreme Series. Good evening and welcome. Thanks for joining us.
So it looks to me like Ronan has got a chance to make it level with a relatively simple finish. You'd expect him to take this.
Yeah, the only thing he's concerning himself with at the moment is the two reds towards the bottom left-hand pocket. The yellow is in between them, so it kind of stops you getting from one to the next.
Yes.
So he's going to try and take one of those as his next ball.
I think that will be his last ball, to be honest with you, the one that, as we see the rail on the bottom, so the yellow on the bottom of the table, the red slightly above it, that'll be his last ball, I believe. Try to stun across now and take this extreme left-hand side red down the rail. Or he may even be forced now to play the cannon.
Yeah.
And play off obviously a bit of stun shot off the rail into the yellow.
Yeah,
and then swing round two cushions to leave the black into the same pocket. See how he plays this one.
Ooh.
Drifted across and looks like he may look to take the black in the middle now. Not sure if I played the cannon there or not, to be honest with you, Nick. Maybe he didn't. I'm not 100% certain. Yeah, leaves himself a pretty much routine black into the middle, and we'll have a level scoreline.
Yeah, this is good. I mean, it's. I can see this being one of those games that stays within a couple of frames all the way through. I don't see either of these players getting away. Remains to be seen. I can see this one being a kind of 11-9, 11-10 game.
Yeah, quite happy. This is my first ever commentary match. Be a good. It's definitely a good one to get your teeth stuck into first thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, Nick. I don't think anyone's going to be surprised, to be honest with you, if anybody particularly runs away with this one. I do think it's going to be pretty much finish for finish, and I think it's just without saying really, it's going to come down to the person that makes the most mistakes.
There's been a few West Country derbies around over the weekend. Ollie Bell opened against Shane Thompson. Shane Thompson then played Adam Penwell, and now Ollie Bell's playing Ben Flack. They'll be very familiar with each other. They live within about 20 miles of each other. One from Bristol and one from around the Bridgewater area. Ollie's currently 2-0 up against Ben.
Could be quite an entertaining game as well, with the pair of them being quite open characters.
Yeah. Greg Batten's on the hill now at the top there against Harjeet Singh. There's still a good contingent of West Country players in. Darren McVicker currently in action in winners qualification. So there's also Shane Thompson, of course, is currently playing Phil Harrison. It's a good showing from down south.
The Hill game, that was Liam Dunster and Craig Marsh. Liam just pinched that one, and it's now 8. Well, Liam's qualified obviously with 8-7.
It's amazing how many times he wins a Hill game.
Yeah, he just seems to have the grit and determination to hang in there, and definitely the gameplay to seem to pinch those deciders. I mean, that just comes down to his general composure. Obviously, the way that he's so methodical around the table, and obviously every single ball he gives exactly the same kind of routine, pre-shot routine and everything. And he's criticised for his speed, really, how slow he is and things like that. But really, if that's the way you play the game, and that's obviously how obviously you feel comfortable, then, in my opinion, really, then obviously you should stick to that.
Yeah, and ironically, he's just won the last 2 events of the fastest.
I was going to mention that. Yeah. 15-second shot clock, and known for being probably notoriously one of the slowest players in the game, and he wins one of those tournaments. Just goes to show that he can obviously mix it with the speed as well.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, he's very versatile.
Ronan opting to go yellows here. The only real difficulty I can see here, Nick, unless the ball does pass, it's the one below the black that's really going to be causing him the biggest issue.
I think it goes. I'm pretty sure he can find the potting angle, and I think it passes the red. You can see from that angle, you can definitely find the potting angle.
Yeah, I think so, actually. Yeah. Of course, as most pool players will know, generally no need to move something when something goes.
Yeah.
It's the golden rule 9 times out of 10.
And it kind of tells you that it must go because he had the perfect angle on the ball to the right of the 2 that he's just taken there to go and cannon it if he needed to. So I think that kind of tells us that it must go.
It may also pass into the middle.
Yeah.
So maybe he was looking to leave himself straighter on this yellow.
Yeah.
I think he's come a little bit short there.
Yeah.
He's just done over a bit further because now the white looks like it could be running into the. So he's opted to take the next one instead. Try and land straight on the yellow this time.
He's in a spot of bother now. He needs to recover this position because
he's in exactly the same situation again, even worse this time.
Yeah. I wonder now if he's got so much angle that he can find the side rail and miss the red. You know, it was almost like before he was guaranteed to cannon the red, and I just wonder now if he might just better sneak past it.
Yeah. I think it might be a case now where he's looking to maybe use the red.
Yeah.
It depends if he's making contact and play with an extreme amount of right-hand side to come off the cushion. And obviously when it hits the red, it'll react and then potentially leave him on well, aim to leave him on the yellow in the middle. As we can see there, I think he's playing it with right-hand side.
Yeah, he's definitely looking to cannon.
There we go. And still got a shot now, but tricky to get back on the black from where he is. And he might not have enough now. It makes this pot extremely difficult. You want this sort of thing with obviously only having a small margin. You really want to be right behind this one, to be honest.
Yeah. This is horrible, isn't it?
Yeah, this is not the position he wanted to be in, obviously. Definitely got to find one out. This is what I was mentioning. I think, obviously, the first mistake it could be. Commentator's curse, maybe, but don't want to do that to Ronan. But if it's the first mistake, then that's when obviously you could see Adam jump in and take a frame really that Ronan should be winning. But don't gain him out just yet.
That's a great shot.
That's an excellent shot.
He's going to have a shot on the black. It's not a nice shot.
Yeah, it's a tricky one again.
Stuck on the side rail, and it's thin. It's not in off, I don't think, so he doesn't have to do anything with the cue ball, so...
Just concentrate on the pot here.
Yeah.
I think it looks wide. It is.
It is. And,
so after the first 2 frames, I think the first error goes to Ronan, really.
I think Adam's going to take the conservative route here. Don't see him doing anything too rash. He'll be trying to get himself a ball in hand.
Yeah, definitely so.
It's a clever shot, bringing the red across the top of the cue ball. It just takes out the top cushion as an escape route. And of course, there's the ball in the middle of the table as well.
May have left him the 1 cushion escape here, though. And if he can catch it thin enough, he may pot the black.
It's a bit careless if he has left the 1 cushion. It is still a very, very difficult shot because it's such a short rail. It's hard to pick the spot, isn't it?
Definitely so.
That's a top shot. That's a top shot. He would have been lucky to try and pot that, but even to hit it, I know he had a fair margin of error because the ball was in the jaws, but when you're only a couple of inches away from the side rail, it's very difficult to try and pick your spot, and they're very easy to miscalculate.
Also, obviously not giving ball in hand from that situation is what you're aiming for, really. Obviously, he would have been looking to pot it, as you rightly said there, Nick, but not giving ball in hand there is definitely what you're aiming for as well, because obviously these sort of 2 players ball in hand, putting the wherever they pretty much want, it's going to be frame over, really. You'd expect. Adam's playing a good shot there. Yeah. Managed to find the hiding place again for the 2nd time.
I think this is more telling. This is again a 1 cushion escape, but the margin of error is just tiny. There's a very small gap. He needs to just miss the red in the middle of the table, and if he just misses it, any contact with the black, and he's very likely to pot it. But as you can see there, it's I mentioned a second ago, it's so difficult when you're that close to pick the angle, and he's misjudged that by some margin. And now, with ball in hand, this should be framed to Adam. It's really just about connecting the dots. And ball in hand, anywhere on the table as well. So if there is a problem ball, he can address it immediately.
Nothing really too difficult here for Adam. As you mentioned, a problem ball with ball in hand, you could get rid of it, but every ball's pretty much in the open, everything goes, no cannons required, no difficult pots to a certain extent, just about keeping your composure now and just taking them out, really making a basic finish, do everything right, cue straight, and I can't see him having any difficulty with these nicks, to be honest. Adam does have a lot of support here this weekend, obviously being a local lad, and it's been played in Players Pool and Snooker Lounge in Newcastle on the Line. Along with his fellow previous interleague player, Liam White. I believe Liam is still in the winners side, I believe, isn't he?
Yeah, he's due to play Leiden.
Oh, Leiden de Bono,
Leiden
yeah.
de Bono, yeah.
That game is it's not playing just yet. Are they waiting for a table, did you say?
Yeah, waiting for table 11.
So there we have it. Takes that relatively routine finish and takes lead 2 frames to 1.
And now with the break in the next as well. If he can find a break and dish, gets himself some distance between him and Ronan.
Mentioning to a few of the players, especially Craig Waddingham, before I come in here and started doing the commentary, and the earlier frames tend to be the ones that are most important. You know, obviously if it goes to the latter stages of the match, then obviously the later frames are more important. But it's definitely more important, or very important, should I say, to get a foothold in the game so early, with the way obviously the tables are playing and obviously the sharp racking play, etc. So I think making sure you can get those first 2 or 3 frames on the board and establishing a quick 2 or 3 frame lead.
We see Tom Cousins, Gareth Hibbert now on the hill. Clint Hansen, this is the first match he's played. He finds himself in winners qualification, having had byes through all of the first rounds. And Shane Thompson 3-1 up against Phil Harrison. I think Shane went into that game with a lot of confidence. He knows he's playing really well at the moment, and he's backed himself with the bookie. I think he was only 13-8. I think he was a bit surprised that he was only 13-8. Declan Brennan just in sublime form at the moment, off the back of a really big money match win against Carlo Donahue, and he just continues to do what he does, and is 5-1 up against John McAllister. He really is an impressive talent. Carboys 3-2 up against Jimmy Croxton. Drew Hughes and Dan McVicker 3 each. Mark Ball 4-2 against Dave Fernandez.
Tom Cousins now 7-5 up against Josh Kane. It was 7-4, so Josh is hoping to strike a comeback.
Adam just fallen out of position slightly. He's got a nice little cut across table, which he plays a very good shot.
Excellent shot.
And didn't need to do anything with the white. He was always going to be guaranteed a shot on the next ball, so he could focus firmly on the pot, and that was very good. And I think this red next to the black goes to top corner, so this should now be frame.
Just nudge into the black here. Yep. So as we mentioned, in the early leads in a match, and I think we will be taking a 3-1 lead here. As you mentioned then, if we're obviously just concentrating on that part, on that red, that difficult cut across the table. To be honest with you, Adam, obviously there are players out there like similar to himself, but he's one of the best single ball potters I think I've ever seen in the game, to be honest with you. And obviously so many different attributes for the game, and definitely got the all-round game obviously to win a tournament like this.
Shane Thompson now 4-1 up against Phil Harrison.
Dave Fernandez trailing 5-2 to Mark Boyle. Dave said he came up yesterday and had a good hour and just solidly practicing the break. Yeah. He did about 50 or 60 racks because he recognises how important, obviously, especially where the table's playing again, to refer to that, and obviously the sharp rack, it's vitally important to have a good break in this situation.
He really does have a massive break as well.
Yes, definitely so. Very unique way of breaking as well, to be fair to him. Very low on the cue, and just as his final backswing jumps up and seems to get a huge amount of acceleration through the crew ball.
Yeah.
Which you don't see many players doing, but people tend to stay down firm on the shot. Dave opts to rise on the break. Believes he can get more power through it that way.
Yeah, it's similar to what Phil Harrison does. Kind of lifts his head and makes a bit of room for his shoulder to come through just before he launches into the backswing. Very effective break.
Yeah, definitely so, yeah. It's quite contradictory, really, when you come to Q Sports, though, because they say to you all the time to keep your head still, make sure you're still on the shot, nothing's moving on your body, and then everybody seems to try and get as much as they can in the break. But the vital, obviously, the most important element of the break is the control. Obviously, keeping that wide centre. We see, obviously, in previous series, and also Mellin of a 1. Very good at keeping the white ball parked in the middle of the table after he breaks. Ultimate control, and that's what you're ultimately trying to do. Don't let it veer too close to any pockets, because obviously the way the balls are flying around the table, there's always a good chance that it can be kicked in off. So if you keep it central, kind of reduces the chances of that happening, really. The best break off from Ronan there, though. Didn't really seem to get through them, and as we can see, we've ended up with that cluster there in the middle of the table. Adam's opposite for reds. I think the one in the middle of the two yellows by the black, that does definitely pass into the corner. If not, I could look to move it at some stage using the two reds on the right hand side of the table. What's going to cause him the most grief, I think, Nick, is the one by the cluster of yellows at the top left.
Yeah.
You have to try and leave himself to get on that, which I think he's tried to do now, which is
an
excellent shot. He's played for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you say, the little flick out, but now, unfortunately, that has kind of, if that red did pass, as I mentioned earlier, it now definitely doesn't go into any pocket. So he's definitely going to have to play some sort of development shot now, which makes the finish a little bit more difficult. I think earlier on, not to question Adam Davis really, but if that red that he's playing now would have gone past the yellow that's above it, yeah, he's in a spot above and now there. He's played the skill shot, but ended up directly behind the next yellow. As I mentioned, if that red had gone past the yellow that was directly above it, he could have played a little bit of a tactical shot there. Played the tactical foul. Well, tactical shot, should we say. Leaves Ronan with ball in hand now. Needs to look at taking these out, I think. Don't want to get too far behind Adam this early in the match. Just approaching 40 minutes for the length of the game. So on average approximately 10 minutes for the first 4 frames. Counting this one as well. Brown looking to break out his bad ball here off the first shot. Very close to screwing it off into the middle pocket there. I don't think he's too happy with that shot. Playing that cannon does seem to have hampered slightly the other yellow on the right hand side of the table, the one that goes down the rail, and then the one in just to the left of that, or the right as we look on the screen. I think he's probably going to need to try and land pretty straight on the one down the rail if he's going to look to take that one in the middle pocket, the left hand middle eyes. Referees do seem to do a really good job in all fairness, Nick. Sometimes removing the shot rack in a predicament like that, it can be somewhat of a military operation, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
He's got some sort of steady hand training, I think.
Yeah, there's probably once or twice in a match. They tend to come straight off the table, or you might have to just move one ball, but you get the occasional one. But again, you see how open the frames go.
Yeah, there's definitely obviously more frames there. That's you don't need to obviously call the referee over or look to remove it yourself. 9 times out of 10, like you said, you can't just remove it straight off there, off the table. I'm not sure if he's underhit that one or overhit that one. I probably think he's probably underhit it. I think he may have wanted to have been on this yellow in the corner, but ultimately could have been trying to play in the middle. So cued that well. Testing shot now to try and get on this yellow back down the right hand side of the table.
Yeah.
And look to probably punch this in off 3 cushions potentially, or
side he's putting
looks
on.
like he can reverse screw it off the rail. Played it very well. A little bit short of pace, really.
Probably only left himself a double here. Maybe had to cut it in the middle, but it's very thin. The cue ball's going to be moving.
Yeah, we're looking for the back double here. I'm not sure we're looking for the cut. It's quite like you say, such a very thin shot.
Yeah.
And he's missed that. Difficult shot to make.
That little flicks helped him. Just he left the red that is next to the yellow dead straight into bottom left, and the other one just came and just flicked it a few mil up the table, so it's left that as not being an option. So now he's got a tough pot at the top of the table where he's diving for cover. I think he'll probably be diving for cover, knowing Adam.
Yeah, I think you're probably right there. In all fairness, though, it depends obviously if he thinks he can leave it such a big area to leave the white. Yeah, as you mentioned there, very clever shot. He's also used the other one, but can't really see from where we are. He may have definitely could see it, I think, but not part it directly. Those two reds have tied up a little bit now. I'm not sure if looking at the other screen. I think they do still go into the left-hand corner. Ronan's got to be careful here if he's playing off the side cushion. Looking to try and just cut it in, I think, off the rail. Decided to play the safety shot instead. Now, do these reds go into the top corner? Because if they do, I fancy Adam to make this plant.
Well, you
Certainly
can see
looking
there,
at it.
it looks just set to the right knuckle, and if it is, it's very makeable.
Certainly not one to refuse it, but on this particular occasion, I think he is.
Yeah, you must just think it's not quite as simple as.
And he's definitely overhit that, and not a very good shot. I think, to be honest with you, if you're putting your eggs in one basket, I think, well, all in one basket, should I say, I think you should look at the plan. Looks to me like it was pretty set, to be honest with you, as you said, Nick. He's got to bend this slightly. Can you pull it clean? He's not playing left-hand side, so it looks like he can pull it clean. Yep, he could. Not the nicest of contacts on the black, though. Left him a little bit of a tricky black, but one you'd expect him to get.
Yeah.
No danger on the in-off if you play it with topspin.
Nice shot from Ronan.
Good shot from Ronan.
Keeps him there, keeps him in the game.
He needed that one, Nick, I think, to go 4-1 behind. It's such a, I know it's first to 11, but 3-frame deficit. You're straight away on the back foot there. So staying within touch with Adam, reducing his arrears to 1. Even more importantly, I think it would have been Adam Davis's break next as well. So 4-1 could have quickly, very easily become 5-1. But you could have argued there, really, Adam did have a chance. So, Mark Boyle's on the hill now. Oh no, he's not, sorry. 4 frames away, should I say. We're on the winner's side now. Apologies. I was 4 away from taking the qualification against Dave Fernandez.
Phil Harrison mounting a comeback there. It's 4-1 down. Now it's 4-3.
Jimmy Croxton, the previous event finalist. Level with Carl Boys. The winner of the last event.
That's a quick game there between Mark Boyle and Dave Fernandez, isn't it? 10 frames.
Definitely, yeah, definitely so. It's interesting, actually. Well, they all started roughly the same sort of time, 40 minutes, 10 frames.
6th frame, Adam Davis to break, leading 3 frames to 2. Time running.
Just over 40 minutes, I think, actually. What, 45? So Adam's found a ball off his break. I think yellows will definitely be his favourite option. A real ball that can probably pose him any difficulty would be the yellow on the left-hand side of the table. But as we know, you can cue these nicely down the rail on these tables. So may not opt to move it. Or he may look to do so now. He has done, just trying to nudge it over the middle pocket. It's a good shot. Now the only difficulty he faces is obviously the yellow on the far right hand side of the table as we look at it. Don't think it passes the red into the corner. Adam using his extension there, trying to work out his path for this finish and work out the pattern. Played in the arena myself before, Nick, and it wasn't a stream game, fortunately, because I did lose to Lee Washbrook quite heavily. But it's amazing how fast that time seems to creep up on you now. 45 seconds. People think, obviously, quite a long time really when you think about it. Most players see shots a lot quicker than that, but before you know it, those buzzers are going, and you've got to try and make a decision.
Yeah, we saw Tom Cousins yesterday. He does seem to get a little flustered when the beeper goes off, and he made a few mistakes in the last few seconds. Someone who's really good at playing under that kind of pressure is Phil Harrison. The amount of times that you see him suddenly have to rush a shot in the last couple of seconds because he's taken too long over his preparation, and he always seems to nail it.
Yeah.
Must be frustrating as an opponent because you think, oh, he's going to run out of time. He's just got to put in a really quick one, but just finds it.
You do see a couple of times. It's just sheer ability. I think he just seems to find that changing shot. He did the same in the. I think it was the Worlds this year, I believe. Was it against the I think the Masters actually was against Adam, ironically. So Adam's mistake there left Ronan a chance to bring this game back level. Missed pot from Adam as well, which I wouldn't have expected, to be honest. There we have it.
3 frames each.
Brings it back to a level scoreline. I think what you said was right, Nick. It's just as we thought, maybe Adam could have slightly got away from Ronan there. Before we know it, we're back to 3 frames each. So it's very much going to be could we see a hill game?
Ronan has a habit of just never being out of the match. I reckon that scoreline on Shane Thompson's just gone full roll because you just saw Phil Harrison go over and flick the score on. So chances are, it looks like there's a bit of a pep in Phil's step as well. So I reckon he's completed the recovery from 3-1 down. So
yep.
Brian Halcrow in action on table. I'm not sure what table that is actually. It's not 11. It's just very on the far extreme left-hand side of the screen. Neil Rayburn right at the back in the blue shirt over on one of the back tables. So action, Sean Chipperfield, you see also to the left of the screen. Action all around the arena.
7th frame, Ronan McCarthy to break. 3 frames all, time running.
Yeah, Jake McCarthy's in the lead against Neil. 3-1. Neil's previous game, I'm not sure if you are familiar, but I was hearing from him, and he lost 11-10, I believe, and he actually had 8 finishes, 8 break dishes, or obviously not off his own break, but off his opponents as well, and still managed to lose 8-10. So that was an extremely high-level game.
Harsh. It's a harsh game.
Not sure who that was against, actually, Nick. Was it Drew Hughes? I'm trying to find it now.
I can soon tell you.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
Drew Hughes, yeah.
Yeah.
The Welshman. So yeah, so I mean, that's some feat, having 8 finishes and still managing to lose the match in 11-10. So
He's currently trailing Jake McCartney 3-1. Ollie Bell's 5-3 up on Ben Flack now, having been behind. Dom Cooney now 5-4 against Jamie Burnett. Liam Dunster against Gareth Hibbert. Doesn't get any easier for Dunster. Jack Williams already through against John Cairns.
very
So
quick game.
these are losers round 4 games. Now Greg Batten's in action, having beaten Harjeet Singh. He's in action against Craig Waddingham. He's 2-1 ahead. Sean Chipperfield is playing Tom Cousins. We saw Sean over in the side of the arena there. I didn't realise who he was playing, but he's playing Tom Cousins. There's a game between 2 roommates, 2 travel companions, 2 ex-world champions, and it's not on stream. But I mean, probably rightly so, because we're streaming the winners' qualification games rather than losers' side. But even so, what a game that is to miss.
Definitely so. Yeah, it's a shame that one's not on the stream. It's definitely be one to watch.
I think that's
I'll skip out the commentary in a minute and catch a few of those frames.
Yeah. That's one everyone would enjoy. It's right at the back of the arena as well, on table 9. Dan McVicker now 7-4 up against Drew Hughes. This is probably about the deepest Darren's been in any of the previous events.
He was flying earlier yesterday and obviously this morning. He's had some pretty good wins.
Yeah, beat Jordan Shepherd earlier, didn't he?
Yep.
Darren, talk to him quite often. He's the first person to admit that his consistency lets him down. If he could find that level over a full weekend, then he'd be winning so many more tournaments.
Yeah, it's really the key to events like this, really, isn't it? It's having the consistency over the 2-3 days duration, really. You can turn up and obviously have a good spat one day, but you've got to maintain that level throughout the entire weekend, and that's obviously really what breeds the winners.
Single matches, he can beat anyone in the world.
Definitely.
And he proved that. He beat Liam Dunster on the stream table in the last event. He beat Jordan Shepherd this morning, and as I say, can beat anybody in single matches. But he can come back a couple hours later and just get demolished by somebody he should be beating. It's just so inconsistent.
It's funny you should say that, because the Southwest Pool Tour that a lot of them obviously playing, like Ollie and Shane and Darren and people like that. And I've watched him sometimes on the stream and he just doesn't miss, and then the next game he just can't pot a ball. So it's, like you say, the consistency level probably just let him down, and he's the first one to admit that, really. But he seems to be doing pretty well this weekend, and might continue for him.
So the first person through to losers qualification is Jack Whelan.
So Jack Whalen will now play the loser of the Leon White Leiden de Bono match. Apologies if I didn't pronounce that correctly. And that's currently standing at 1 frame apiece. So obviously who wins that match will go through to the last 16.
So the lucky person who loses between Mark Boyle and Dave Fernandez will have to play Sean Chipperfield or Tom Cousins. Sean Chipperfield's currently 3-0 up against Tom. He's struggling this weekend, is Tom. He had some tip issues this week and had to change his ferrule.
Yeah.
And the ferrule he replaced it with was just about a millimetre or so smaller than the previous one he had, and it really is just affecting him. You wouldn't think, you know, I mean, from my perspective as a club player, you wouldn't think it would make that much difference, but these fine margins, they really do, don't they?
Yeah, definitely so. It's amazing how a slight change to your cue can obviously make such a difference. You know, you're used to it for being played with for years potentially, and used to it being a certain way, and then all of a sudden something like that changes and changes the feel, changes the reaction. And as we've seen with obviously most Q Sports, most people will know, or everybody should know really, Ronnie O'Sullivan, and it's very easy to be disgruntled by a tip, and if it's not right, you just don't feel like you've got your touch and everything's missing.
Yeah.
So, looking there, 4-0 up now against Tom. Dom Cooney's currently level with Jamie Burnett. It was Jamie that beat Tom Cousins, I believe, wasn't it? Was it last night on the final game of the stream?
Yeah.
That went on for quite some time, and Jamie managed to come out on top. Holly Bales there, 5-3 up against Ben Flack, his fellow countryman, as you rightly said. Niels reduces his arrears to 1 against Jake. Fellow lad from around my area, Sam Bircher. He's currently 6-4 down to Clint Ironson. Interesting to see Clint, like you said there, because it was the first game that Clint's played.
Yeah.
So he's doing well to be 6-4 up when Sam's been on the table quite a lot, to be honest.
I said earlier that if I can guarantee draws like Clint's had, I'll start entering these events.
I think we all would, to be honest. It's also, to be fair though, I mean, obviously Clint's a quality player, there's no doubt about that, but it could also be quite a little bit of a disadvantage for him, because obviously, you know, not currently showing like that, but Sam's been on the tables, he's got the feel for it, he's been playing the weekend. No doubt, obviously, Clint's been putting the time in and playing, because he does play quite a lot, but not playing any match at all. I mean, personally, I always like to try and have at least a game to settle you, first thing. You don't want to be trying to walk into these things cold to a certain extent. Back to this one, Adam managed to take that last frame and managed to get a 1-frame lead. Got a dry break there, so Ronan looking to maybe try and make something happen to bring it back level again.
Someone mentioned to me that you sound just like Sean Murphy.
Is that a compliment? I'm not sure. I'd like to think I know more about this game than he does.
Yeah.
Definitely not snooker though. I think he was trying to play on one of these yellows with that last shot to obviously disturb the ball, the bad ball. But he's landed in a position where he couldn't do that, so probably going to take these top 2 yellows, and which obviously reduces your options a little bit. So now he's going to have to try and leave himself a nice angle to try and break it out. But you know, as most players will respect and understand, that the more balls you take like that, the less option you give yourself to try and break out a ball that's in a pretty sticky situation.
And Phil Harrison, having been 4-1 down,
yeah,
now leads 7-4.
Oh wow! There we go. True Masters form.
Just switched on beast mode.
Definitely so. Yeah, it just amazes me really. You played myself, and see him obviously play down various different competitions and watch him play, and you do think, all right, okay, he looks down and out, and then all of a sudden, just like a situation like that, he manages to play out the bag and put himself in front into quite a commanding position.
Ronan, I didn't feel he quite had the angle to pull off that shot. He just landed a touch straight, and it meant he's run out of position now.
To support that as well, Nick, I don't really think he got into it at all.
No.
He seemed to not miscue it, but just didn't really seem to time that very well. And that's obviously meant that it didn't get the yellow out. But I think, in all fairness, it's come down to obviously the previous shots where he was, you know, removing other balls from the table, which he could potentially be a little bit more, maybe forceful to try and break out that bad ball, and then potentially leave himself more options by having obviously other yellows to play on. But managed to play a decent safety shot there. Stopped Adam doing, well, pretty much anything really. Hard to see a shot here for Adam, really. I think he's rattling his brains as much as I am. Any potential shot. Yeah, he's playing thin off this red. Not move it enough so he can see the yellow in the middle. And potentially try and snoop him on the other yellow using the black. Or the other red.
Not quite sure what to do here.
No, it's a very difficult situation. Ronan playing a very good shot. Very simple but very effective.
Can he just run it off the bottom cushion and back it? Yeah, I was thinking maybe just that exact shot, but play it with a little more pace. Just
to bring it back up towards the reds.
Yeah, back in behind the two reds.
There you go, Nick. You picked a shot better than a player. There we go. That's what everyone's trying to get their hands on. Nice piece of silverware that is.
Oh, doesn't want to stick. No.
See, Adam left him that shot, but I think it was a case that Adam thought there, I'll let him have a go, and hopefully he doesn't manage to get on it, and obviously he hasn't, so unless he can find something off this, might be the old hit and albeit. He has gone for it, and it's amazing how he's missed everything and stayed at the pocket. That may have been a bit more out of frustration, to be honest with you, though, Nick.
Yeah.
I think it's a hard shot there, obviously, to control the stun over, but he did have such a huge margin for error. I mean, he could have been anywhere at the far left-hand part of the table, a good 3 or 4 inches, and he would have been on that yellow, at least give him some sort of shot. But he really did get too much into the cue ball there and ended up behind those reds. So now ball in hand for Adam.
Yeah, he needs to just start working on the traffic on the left-hand side of the table.
Just mind his work, stay close to where he needs to, and should have a 2-frame lead.
Yeah, there's no traffic on the table. These should be gimme clearances.
These are the ones really that these players. I mean, you know, myself, I'd expect to get these, but they make these sort of clearances. They're at 99.9 times out of 100, whereas you know the odd, like you say, club players, and not to be too derogatory towards players, but lesser players to a certain extent.
Yeah.
These finishes become they're very basic, and in my opinion, players like Adam and Ronan and you know your Chipperfield and your Cousins and all those players, they make these finishes. They do everything correct, the basics 100% right all the time, and it's just routine for them.
It's clinical.
Yeah. You know, cue ball, perfect position, whereas it's very easy to be complacent on finishes like that. Just take your eye off something and just think, well, these are too easy. You know, you often hear that saying in the club. Oh, well, you know, if you miss these, you shouldn't play the game again. You know, it's a common saying in the club where I play from.
The best person for that clinicism is probably Mark Farnsworth, just never seems to throw in an error in those kind of situations.
Yeah.
And as you say, you expect people to get them, but club players, they're just going to roll out of position slightly and then roll out of the position the next one, and from what it goes from a gimme clearance to suddenly they're in trouble.
Yeah.
And
like I said, the complacency can set in there, and it's very easy just to think these are unmissable, and like you said, put yourself in a bit of a predicament. And then, of course, it's bad in my opinion for the mental kind of health as well, because you think, well, this was a really routine finish, and I've all of a sudden put myself under the cosh here. You know, a bit more pressure on this next shot, and then that can force you to obviously run at a position on your next ball, and it gradually gets a bit more difficult. And then run into the next frame if you've missed a finish like that. I mean, me personally, myself, I've done it this weekend. I haven't played the best, but I've done that. And then straight away in the next frame, you think, well, I should have won that one. And you should look back at the score line and you think, well, it's now 2-1. It should have been, 2 each or something like that, or 2-1 to me, or what it could have been.
Yeah.
So it really does affect your mind as well. And that's where you've kind of got to, put that at your mind and get on to the next frame.
7 in a row now for Phil Harrison. He's 8-4. Carl Boys has taken the lead now against Jimmy Croxton. Jimmy was ahead in that game. I think Carl's won a few on the trot there. Darren against Drew Hughes now 7 each. Other games to note: Oli Bell now on the hill against Ben Flack, 7-3.
That's happened very quickly.
Very quick player.
Do you expect from him?
Sean Chipperfield now 6-1 against Tom Cousins, just 2 frames away from Tom Cousins being eliminated.
Drew Hughes and Darren McVicker, 7 frames apiece. And fellow teammate for Adam Davis, Liam White, currently 2 frames to 1 against Liddon de Bono. And just as I said that, Liddon looks to have taken the next frame, and it's 2 frames apiece. So Ronan here needs to really look at taking these out, which I again expect him to do, as mentioned in the previous frame. Relatively simple. Just this plant, don't want to put one of the balls dead.
It's okay, it was...
Got the fin cut.
Yeah.
Run it around with the 2 cushions, or maybe just the one, leave yourself the one in the middle. Or maybe not the one in the middle, actually, probably the better one.
Just a little short pace, but...
Yeah. Should be okay, should be able to hold the white.
Yeah, definitely can. Just
Opting to play the one in the middle now, come between the 2 reds. Yep. Leave himself the room to cue the white ball. Oof. Has he snookered himself behind the red? I think he has.
Yeah, definitely. Well,
slight bend, I think.
See it, he can see the pot and angle.
Yeah, just going to bend this slightly. It was interesting to see the yellow go. I really didn't think that one was going to go. He's got it.
Nice.
Good job.
5-4.
Those little swerve shots can sometimes be more difficult than swerving out, swerving around a ball completely to get over a snooker. You got to really control those shots and also try and get yourself the potting angle, which Ronan seemed to navigate well there. So Clint is now leading Sam Bircher, 8-4. So some very well, same scoreline with Phil Harrison and Shane Thompson. That one has turned around so quickly, Shane being the lead. And is it pretty much 7 frames with no reply now from Shane? Was it 4-1 to Shane?
Yeah.
One stage?
Yeah.
So 7 frames with no reply from Shane so far. Declan Brennan and John McAllister. 6 frames
Clint's
apiece.
pulling away, isn't he? I think that was at 4-all against Sam.
Went to 6-4 and then won the next 2 as well, so it's 8-4 now.
Chippy on the hill.
Mark Boyle not far away from putting himself into the last 16. Only 2 frames to go for him.
Things already looking ominous in that Liam Dunster Gareth Hibbert game, aren't they? 2-0. Liam's just such a tough opponent.
Didn't seem to hit those as well as he normally does, which obviously resulted in him getting a dry break. Tempo has just gone down a little bit for this match for me, Nick. It was from the start, it was straight out of the blocks, 2 finishes, maybe even 3, I think, and then just seems to slow down. A couple of the odd mistakes creeping in from both players, really.
So Ronan, is he on yellows here? Sorry, it's just
Yeah, he's on yellows. Looking to leave himself a clever shot here. He's looking to play the yellow, I think, off the red, which will free up the 2 yellows. Just how he gets on his next ball.
Yeah.
Played it well, but I think he's blocked the path. Yeah, I think he has.
Yeah.
Blocked the path with that red. I think he potentially probably was looking to pot the both there. Obviously, we know the skill shots are allowed in these Supreme rules. So that's don't really think he's got a shot now, Nick, to continue going for the clearance. Definitely don't think one of those yellows sneaks past that red.
The yellow, he was trying to leave the top corner, the middle of the 3 balls. I was just wondering if he could play that to side cushion and put it off the back of the red, but I think the red might just be a bit too far away.
Yeah, I think the red's too far out for that.
Plant to middle.
Or the yellowing off the other red.
Yeah.
I think he's trying to leave the white potentially maybe behind the black.
Looking
No,
at the plant, I think.
looking to play it off the red, I think.
Oh no. Yeah, he was.
Yeah, didn't hit that one right.
Failed at everything.
I'll let you tell him later.
I was talking to Declan Brennan outside earlier, and we were just talking about his recent money match win against Carl O'Donoghue, and he was obviously over the moon with the win. He said it was the best he's ever played over a prolonged period, and you know, it was good to be able to test himself like that and actually know that he's capable over that kind of distance. And, and I sort of said to him that I just found it incredible in the aftermath of that game that everyone was just shouting, he's got to play Tom Cousins.
Yeah.
He's got to play Mark Farnsworth. He's got to play Mark Boyle. And it's like, and Declan said, I can't believe it was only a year ago that I was playing Seb Webb for 40,000.
Yeah.
And in my honest opinion, I think that it was a mistake from Declan to play Carl, because he's now at the next level, and, he beat Carl convincingly. And I think it was a real mistake to take that game, because if he'd have flown a little more under the radar, I mean, okay, he won a Supreme event, so he was already on people's radars, but if he'd have stayed under the radar a little more on the money match scene. There's
Yeah.
probably 6 games he could have taken before he played Carl O'Donoghue.
Yeah, definitely so.
And
Yeah,
then another 6 games after Carl O'Donoghue before he even has to contemplate playing someone like Tom Cousins.
definitely so. Yeah. The money match scene is very different, obviously, compared to these competition sides. You rightly said, even though he managed to win one of these events, it's. I mean, I've played a couple of money matches myself, won one, lost one, but you do kind of get a bit of a different atmosphere. There's a lot of barracking. There's a lot of, obviously, everybody knows, there shouldn't be as such, but there's always some input from the crowd. So, like you said, if he'd have flew under the radar a little bit, he might have got himself a few games, bit more cash under his belt. But now, straight away, he's going to have to be looking at a big name. Cole's obviously a very big name, and he's going to have to look at an even bigger name to a certain extent, like you said. And no one's going to play him now with beating Cole so convincingly.
And I said to him, ultimately, you need to pick your opponents wisely and not listen to the hype, because if you play Tom and you beat Tom, then there's no other game for you.
No, where do you go from there? Yeah,
there is nothing else. So and you have nothing to gain from that single game apart from the bit of money that you might earn from it. And it just baffles me that people just start banning it around, and people quite rightly have a massive amount of respect for Declan, and put him up there, and he has the ability to be up there amongst the best players, but he has to stay grounded for now, and he is a very grounded young man as well. I think he's very, very sensible, and the reason, the point that I was getting to through that whole long-winded discussion was that I sort of said to him that because Ronan is his mentor, and I said, he's obviously a really good guy to have as your mentor. He's kind of taken you under his wing, and he's there for guidance. And he said, from a pool perspective, maybe, he said, don't get me wrong. He said, I love Ronan, and from a pool perspective, he's definitely the man that I listen to. But he said, oh my God, he said, he's just a flipping nightmare. He said, I mean, he turned up to an event last year without his cue.
Right.
He travelled from Ireland to the UK, got into the club and said, oh, I haven't brought my cue. Now this time round, Declan said, we got to the security, we went through security, so he put his bag and his jacket in the little box, as you do, or put his bag and belongings in the box, and his jacket and his belongings in the box, and his bag behind the box, and he'd gone through the security and got the other side, and picked up his jacket and walked off and just left his bag there. And then didn't realise for another half an hour, and then I had to go back to security to try.
Good at doing that in an airport. That bag I left 5 minutes ago. Yeah, can I have it back, please?
He said it's just like nursemaiding an old senile man, It's just
Oh dear.
It's just brilliant. I love it. You get so many good stories about Ronan. When you get him on commentary, he's such a character. He's so funny. He's got so many good stories. Talking of which, we had Brian Halker on commentary earlier, and
it's card, absolute card, Brian.
Just got years and years of experience, and just has a story about everything.
Yeah.
And a lovely bloke to commentate with for sure. But, I just love the stories about Ronan whenever I hear them. But I sort of say to Declan that he is a great man to have as a wingman, as somebody who's going to mentor you, someone who's going to talk you through your career. But I said to him, you need to listen to Ronan when it comes to picking money matches, and not listen to the hype from all the other people, because Ronan's been there, done it, chosen the right money matches, played the right games, and has got one of the standout records, around.
Yeah, definitely so. Yeah, without a doubt.
But I personally think that Declan's already made a mistake in taking on that Carl game.
Yeah.
I'd never criticise people for what they decide, but I just think that there were other games around for him and I had the same conversation with Brian Halker earlier on. It really depends on what you want to achieve out the money match.
I was just about to say that myself, yeah.
And Brian is the perfect example. He's the perfect example because Brian's played everyone. He's played Farnsworth, Hill, Melling, Selby. He's played them all for money and lost to most of them.
Yeah.
Oli Bell's another example.
Yeah.
Played Ronan McCarthy in a game that arguably he should have never taken. Played Gareth Potts in a game that arguably you know, there were other games that Oli could have played.
Yeah, yeah.
But Oli wanted the hype.
Yeah, wanted to make a name
knew,
and be the one that beat them. Yeah.
He knew if he beat them, he was already on the map. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
He was European champion, but when you're taking on people like Gareth Potts, why would you do that? Because if you beat him, where are you going to go?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, 3 times world champion. Where do you go from there?
That's the point.
Yeah.
Like there were other games that he could have played for 10 grand.
Yeah.
That it depends whether you're there to make a name.
Yeah.
Or whether you're there to make money.
Yeah, definitely so.
And there are definitely two different things. And I think that you need to be very, very careful when you're playing with other people's money.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be using other people's money to go into games that you're using to make a name for yourself. You should be going into games, and that's where I think someone like Shane Thompson is really good, and he's got really good advice, and he gets really good games.
Yeah.
I think he plays a lot of games where he's not necessarily favourite in, but he just seems to win. If you see the games that he's won, he played WOD.
Yeah.
Like
prolific money match player. Shane.
Everyone would have said, well,
he was the underdog really in that match.
Course.
Yeah.
Dan Davey. There's so many games where you think, well, he beat Carl O'Donoghue.
Yeah.
It's another one. And you kind of look at it, and I think that Shane's career's been managed perfectly because...
For money matches, yeah.
Even though he's a prolific winner, he still manages to get games where he's favourite.
Yeah, true, yeah.
Because he's not stepped up and done the stupid thing.
Played someone that's well known as such a big money match player, should I say, or a big name in the game. Yeah, I understand where you're coming from.
Another one who's been managed really well and has got an outstanding money match record is Cole Bedford. He's won like 17 and lost 2.
The lisp as he's known.
It's crazy. It's like,
again, I've picked the right games, played the right people, manages to get the games.
Yeah.
He's favouring in some of them. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, I played a couple myself, but I've never really wanted to get much further than that in it, to be honest with you. But I suppose it does depend on which kind of direction you want to take your game.
Exactly.
If you want to be a competition player, then money matches, I suppose, they really don't name. Like Ollie probably wants to get the name and do well in competitions. He's won things over the years. Maybe someone like Declan, obviously, if he wants to make the money match scene, I don't think he can do that now, like you've said. Whereas he's definitely got a career, obviously, to a certain extent at pool, and I think you'll see him win more tournaments, more events, and who knows, maybe even another Supreme event over the coming years for as long as this runs. But it depends where you want to take it, I suppose. If you want to be a money match player, you should be looking at getting more managed like Shane Thompson to a certain extent, and picking and choosing your games wisely. Whereas if you want to be a recognised tournament winner, I don't think it matters too much. You beat those big names, it just gives you a more kind of mental strength against your opponent in competition. Because they're like, oh, we beat Tom Cousins for money, he beat Carl O'Donoghue for money. So straight away, I think you're at a significant advantage when you're going into a competition there against players. Bit of a difficulty with the rack going back to this match, and Scott Price helping out there, fellow senior referee. He's managed to navigate his way with the other referee and get the shot rack off the table. What was the final scoreline for the Declan Brennan and Carl O'Donoghue match? Do you know?
I want to say. Oh my God!
Because he won convincingly, didn't he?
Was it a race of 25 or a race of 30?
I think it was 30. I think.
Was it 30-17 or something like that?
Well,
someone will probably message me and tell me because.
I was busy at the time. I know it was going on, but I don't think it was streamed, was it? from what I know. I heard about his win, and that was it, really. Ronan's snooked himself there off the cannon. Just over the black, but what a shot that is. Absolutely fantastic shot. That really could have just, obviously kept him close to Adam. Glistening on the replay here.
Great shot.
Fantastic shot.
Yeah.
Very well controlled as well to leave himself on there.
That was a massive. That was a massive shot as well, wasn't it? I mean,
yeah.
Letting Adam in there and going 7-4.
Yeah, huge, absolutely huge. I mean, the big difference between 7-4 and 6-5, and obviously he's managed to stay close to him.
And
definitely one for the highlight reel.
I think I'm right in saying that Shane Thompson's, he was 4-1 up and he's lost 11-4.
Oh my days!
So Phil's.
He's really done a number on Shane there. That's some feat.
You'll find out what happened in a minute, because Shane will come in here within the next 3 minutes. That door will open. He'll put his cue over there, and he'll go, "I couldn't do nothing about it." He never missed, because he always comes and gives us a little brief synopsis of what happens.
It was on the stream as well, I think. Was that match on the stream?
It was on Table 4 stream.
That's good. So I think somebody's definitely got some good viewing there. Whoever's been watching that one.
Here's a turnaround. John McAllister now beating Declan Brennan 8-7.
Oh wow!
Declan was ahead in that one.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
And another turnaround. Jimmy Croxton was beating Carl Boys. Carl's on the hill now at 10-6.
10-6, yeah.
And Drew Hughes is on the hill against Darren McVicker, and Darren was in the lead on that one. So many games have turned around.
Yeah.
Mark Boyle on the hill 10-4, and in fact Drew Hughes has just hammered in the nail in the final coffin and has won 11-4.
Yep, that's done. Yep, so Drew Hughes beats Darren McVicker. Goes through to the last 16.
Greg Batten was 3-1 up against Craig Waddingham, and Craig's now 4-3 up.
Clint's completed his victory against Sam Bircher.
What about Sean Chipperfield? Was how many? 7-6-1 up, wasn't it? Was he 7-something, 7-2?
Yeah, 7-2, I think.
Now,
It's along those lines.
Now 7-5.
So Tom's mounting a mini comeback there, but Sean's still on the hill, so got a couple of breaks, a couple of chances there of taking out a break dish, which is obviously we see so often in this tournament. Brian Halgrove put himself on the hill against Chris Day. And Liam Dunster looking ominous for Gareth Hibbert. It's 3-0 now. Dom Cooney and Jamie Burnett. That's a hill match in the losers round 4. Liam Dunster just gone 4-0 up now against Gareth Hibbert. You've got some good odds on a whitewash potentially in that match.
Yeah.
And Craig Waddingham has just taken the next frame, so he's 5-3 up against Greg Batten. Ollie Bale just beat Ben Flack, 8-5. So Ollie's now through to the losers qualification, and he will play the loser of the match between John McAllister and Declan Brennan. So Ollie's got a tough game again next to try and qualify for the last 16. So just to reiterate, the last 16 so far we have Clint Ianson, Phil Harrison and Drew Hughes. Brian Halcrow is now just beating Chris Day, so that's 8-4. And Jack Whelan, as we know, is already through. Back to the action here. Seems Adam really has crunched that one much better than his last break. And he's looking like he's put himself in a bit of a commanding position there. And should look at getting this finish. Yellows, I think, will probably be what he goes for. And then again, reds are also looking good. So it's tough to call, really, whichever one he thinks. Yeah, Joe's opted for reds. only 40 yellows because I thought maybe that red didn't go at the top of the table, but it's clear that it passes into both middle pockets. So he should be looking to establish a 2-frame lead here, really, Nick.
Yeah, Ronan has made a few mistakes through this game, but he's got away with them so far. He's still just that 1 frame behind. And Adam just letting him off the hook a couple of times. So
I think Jimmy Croxton has just lost. Did you mention that before?
no.
I've just seen him put his cue away, so I think, yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
So Carl Boyes has just beaten Jimmy Croxton.
Yeah, Carl was on the hill the last time I looked.
Yeah, 11 frames to 6. So he's through.
Is he going to go back to back?
Who knows? Yeah. Well, he's obviously definitely got the caliber for it. There's no reason why he couldn't, but
still so many good players
still
left.
exactly. Yeah, there's still so many players that are capable of winning this event. At this stage, there really is. But at any stage, really, to be fair with the field on this tournament, there really are no easy games. To be honest with you, Nick.
Yeah.
It's not like again, not to be derogatory to play certain players, but certain tournaments you always have those players where you're kind of hoping for them in the draw. It's really when you're watching the draw live, Facebook Live, when Lee and other Lee's doing it, Kenny and Proto.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter who you get because you know you're going to be faced with a tough game.
Yeah.
Just these last 2 yellows so these 2 reds to dispatch for Adam. Slightly overhit that one, so it should be fine. Around the back of the yellow, and leaves himself a simple straight black into the middle. And there we go. Re-establishes his 2-frame lead. So, as you mentioned, Ronan still in touching distance. No real cause for concern yet. But from what I've seen so far, I just think that Adam looks a little bit more settled than Ronan. I don't know if you think the same, Nick.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, it's Ronan's a funny player. He's we've seen him quite a few times on the stream, and he's never just come out with that great performance where you can just sort of stand out and say, "Wow, that was brilliant." But he grinds his way through so many games, and this is why this game was going to be interesting, because they're both real battlers.
Yeah, without a doubt, yes. Yeah, I see what you mean there.
Look at Liam Dunster.
5-0 now against Gareth Hibbert. Who would have predicted that scoreline?
Tom Cousins pulled back another frame. I think Chippy's taking it easy on him. He doesn't want the cold shoulder tonight when they go back to the travel lodge or wherever they're staying.
Depends if Tom hasn't paid for the room yet. You know, he's not paid his share. Good luck getting that.
Yeah. It's funny because Tom is so laid back and just such a nice man.
Yeah, I've watched a couple of his interviews after he's won the tours and things like that, and he just, how do you think you played, Tom?
Yeah,
it was good. Yeah,
it's good. He's the hardest man to interview because he
doesn't really give you anything.
He's really shy. He just doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't give you anything. He hates that kind of environment. But that's fine. Not everyone's the same sort of thing, you know. It's no big deal. I mean, he's a brilliant talent, and
we found out. Yeah,
he's just so like unassuming. He's got no ego whatsoever.
He's generally very quiet. I haven't really spoken to him much myself, but
he's top man.
He's from people that know him. No one has a bad word to say about him. So,
no. He can eat, mind. He can eat. Oh, Jesus. We went to TGI Fridays, and we all ordered our meal, and I ordered I don't know what it was. I can't remember now. Like I think it was a full rack of ribs, which is a bit of a beast of a meat on its own. And I think I'd gone to the bathroom. The food came in, and they put it in front of Tom and he demolished about a third of it before he realised that it wasn't actually mine, because he'd ordered a starter of, like, I don't know what it was, like chili fries or something, you know. And this starter comes out. Well, I didn't know it was a starter at the time. I thought it was a main meal. So he sat and demolished this main meal. After eating a quarter of mine, he sat and demolished this main meal. And then this full rack of ribs with mountain of everything comes and sits in front of him. And I'm like, he's never going to eat that.
He that as well.
He just inhaled it. I mean, it's like
That's impressive. So not only is he impressive on the pool table, he's also impressive around the buffet table. Sort of person that when he walks in, they all like, we're closed. We're closing early tonight, sorry.
he's a top lad. Got a lot of time for him. Chippy too, to be honest. They're two very good boys.
Yeah, there's a lot of players here that obviously, where they're from, I'm not obviously down from that area, from the Midlands. Probably tell by the accent.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know them that well. But like I say, you never really hear a bad word about them, to be honest with you. It's just getting to know people.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Tom is, well, obviously initially from Wales, but he kind of resides around Attleborough, around the sort of Norwich area.
Oh, right, okay.
Just up the road from Banham Zoo, funnily enough. We went and covered the money match between Mark Boyle and him there.
Oh, right, okay.
We got a photo of Paul and George stood by the entrance to Banham Zoo.
Did they ask for you to go back in, you guys? I haven't walked past the zoo, and they always say to me, "Oh, look at your home."
It was about a 6-hour drive from Somerset, and I drove up and back in the day. It was just
Wow.
horrendous.
Yeah, that's a good stretch. How long did that take?
Oh, it was 6 hours each way, and you know, with a 7-hour money match in between.
Between, yeah.
Oh, it's just shocking. Shocking what I've done in the past to commentate on a game.
Your services are wanted. So Ronan, looking maybe here, could be going 3 frames behind. Alan faced with a difficult shot here. Cue was quite close to the cushion, so it's one that he's got a cue, and he's slightly jacking up. Oh, cue that well. Cue that very well. Nice controlled stun shot, and it should be a 3-frame lead now for Adam. Minus anything like a kick or something like that. Well, I don't think a kick would even make too much of a difference at this stage. There we go. So the Jake McCartney, Neil Raybone game in the losers round 4. Jake's currently 5-4 up against Neil. So that's slightly changed. Tom Cousins has won that match, Nick.
Has he?
Yeah, he's just won 8-7
What?
against Sean Chipperfield. So
God.
that was a very quick turnaround for them too. So
Do you know what? Would you
I do definitely think Tom hadn't paid for the room, to be honest.
would you put it past him to win this event? After, like, I mean, he was out there, wasn't he? Surely playing Sean Chipperfield, like 7-2.
Yeah, he was definitely down and out. The way he looked down and out.
He's
but
gone.
He's managed to get his head on and reel off some frames there.
Dan's just 6-0 up. The boy's relentless.
Unbelievable. No one would have predicted that scoreline against Gareth Hibbert.
Craig Waddingham 6-4 against Greg.
Jamie Burnett has beaten Dom Cooney 8-7.
John McAllister on the hill now against Deck Brennan. Remember, John McAllister mounted an amazing comeback. Last event or the event before last, he was 10-1 down against.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Against Jack Whelan.
Yeah.
And came
yeah.
back and won 11-10.
11-10. Yeah. Pretty impressive.
I think Jack's head was in the bin after that game.
I think his cue was after that.
Yeah. But he's done it again here. He was behind to Declan. He's 10-8 now. Wow. Who knocked Singleton out?
He was beaten by.
He was beaten by Dunster.
Yeah.
Of course he was, yeah. That boy's relentless.
Yeah, he just he lost. Did he lose his first win of
Yeah.
his own game? I think he did, didn't
Yeah. Yeah. Never knows when he's beaten.
he? No. Never down and out.
So we have, we're starting to shape up in the last 16. Already there in the last 16, Clint Hanson, Phil Harrison, Carl Boyes, Drew Hughes and Mark Boyle. They await the qualifiers from the losers qualification, which is going to be at 8:30 tonight.
A couple of matches already lined up in there as well, mate. We've got Dave Fernandez against Tom Cousins. That could be a good match.
Yep.
And Jamie Burnett against Shane Thompson.
So let's just work out who plays who. Well, Dan McVicker will play the winner of Greg Batten and Craig Waddingham. Craig's currently 6-4 up. As you say, Dave Fernandez will play Tom Cousins. Brian Halcrow will play...
Ronan McCarthy or Adam Davis.
Yeah, the loser of this game. Jack Whelan will play Liam White, or Leiden de Bono, yeah. Liam White's currently 5-4 up.
Sam Bircher will play the loser of Liam Dunster, Gareth Hibbert, which
looks
the
like
way it's going looks like it's going to be Gareth Hibbert.
No, that's Sam's going to play the winner of that game. So
Oh, sorry, yeah, the winner. My apologies, not
he'll
the loser.
play. We're looking like Liam.
Yeah, looking like Liam.
Jamie's going to be playing Shane Thompson, Jamie Burnett. Odie Bell will play.
John McAllister.
Probably Declan Brennan.
Declan Brennan, yeah.
Yeah. And Jimmy Croxton will play the winner of Jake McCartney and Neil Raybone.
Stick with us, guys, because there's definitely some good nights worth of pool coming up. Crack open a cold one. Watch this unfold.
Yeah, it's that time of night, isn't it?
Yep.
25 past 8. It's just nice, cold one up.
Perfect time now. Kids are normally in bed if you've got any, and
yeah.
ready to settle down for the evening.
If they're not, ship them off.
That's the one, yeah.
Get them up to bed and.
Order yourself a takeaway.
Perfect. What a night in. Chinese or Indian?
For me, it's got to be an Indian. I do love a good Indian.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so have you got a particular dish that's your...
Hotter the better.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're more like a Vindaloo kind of guy?
Well, to be honest, I say that, but I like... I just love Indian food. So give me something mild with lots and lots of flavour, or give me something really, really hot. I don't care.
Yeah,
or anything in between. I like the full spectrum.
Yeah.
I would never go and order a mild curry.
No.
Because I just couldn't do it to myself, because I love spicy food.
Yeah.
And my wife won't eat spicy food at all, so I just whenever I go, because I can't cook spicy food at home, so I just get it as hot as I can possibly get it.
Remind me of my dad. My dad's the same. It's anything hot, but again, nothing stupid like some people foul and things like that, and it's a bit too stupid really in terms of the heat level. But sometimes you get a Vindaloo. I mean, not my personal favourite, but my dad always says it's quite flavoursome. I disagree, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I mean, I like hot while still being able to...
Yeah,
I
still got the flavour. Yeah.
I can eat a fowl, but I prefer something that's very hot, but
yeah,
still be able to get a great flavour.
Yeah.
So I'd probably tend to go for a madras or something like that. But
That's nice. That's pretty much my limit. I don't really eat much harder than that, to be honest. But it's rare I have that sort of thing. I'm similar to yourself. I like to make sure there's a lot of flavour in it. So masala's a little bit too mild for me, but I'll go more for like a jalfrezi or something like that.
Have his open. His voice.
So a couple of technical difficulties here, guys. We're back with you very shortly. We're back with you.
So it's who's at the table? Ronan.
Yeah, I believe so. I think Adam just missed. Oh no, tell me. I think it is Adam actually. Yes,
No,
it is
it's
Adam.
Adam.
Because Ronan was on reds and he just missed that red. So
Looking ominous for Ronan now.
yeah, Adam 2 frames away from victory. He's played a quite containing shot there. Not really left Ronan anything now.
Well, the one near the middle, is he going to have a go at that? It's just above the pocket. You'd fancy him to get close if he went for the one cushion escape. These players are really accurate with these kind of shots, and he's not going to go for it.
Yeah, and I think there's a great deal of value in it, to be honest with you. If he goes
Yeah.
for it, it's what he's got next.
Yeah.
Is that a foul? No, referee
No.
hasn't called it, so it looks like it was a legal shot. It's not worked out too bad at all, really, that shot.
Yeah, but
It's opened up his bad.
you're absolutely right. There was much more value in playing that because he opens up everything and throws the gauntlet down to Adam. But you know he knows that this ball's tied up.
Yeah.
And he has to take a bit of a chance here, doesn't he? He can't just keep on going the way it's going because it'll be game over.
Definitely so, yeah.
He needs to take some chances.
Yeah, Adam's got to find a pot here if he's looking to stay at the table.
Yeah.
I don't really think there's anywhere he can hide. And with that shot Ronan just played, he's really opened up the reds. Let's give him a good chance. I'm looking to hide, I think, behind this red. Behind the yellow, sorry. That's a very good shot.
That's a good shot. Yeah.
Excellent shot. Yeah, clever shot there by Adam. Ronan can hit a red here though. I still think he's in the driving seat in this frame.
John McAllister's through. He's beaten Deck Brennan.
Yep. That slight contact on the yellow as the red's gone through. It may have just made the 2 yellows at the top of the table possible now.
I'm going to predict a full-blown Ronan McCarthy recovery here because if you look at the draw so far, the top 6 games have all been won by the player on the left. This is the only game that's the exception to that. The bottom game's 5-all, and if it's going to carry on the trend, Ronan's going to have to make a comeback.
Yeah, very true. Yeah. I don't think we've ever seen that, to be honest. In any of the series events, I don't think we've ever seen either a left-hand side all winners or a right-hand side all winners.
No.
Could make history here for the series. He's definitely got some work to do if he wants to do that, though. I've got a bit of OCD myself, so I'm kind of rooting for him now. Because if there's one game there that falls out of that trend, it'll be quite annoying for me.
Where's the red going?
Yeah, he couldn't really control where the road was going. That was the thing. He obviously making the putt was the most important thing on the yellow, but he couldn't really predict where that road was going.
He's still got a shot. He's got the long ball to bottom left. He could use the one that's just adjacent to the middle to try and break into that cluster at the top of the table. I think that's what he's going to have to do.
Yeah, if he's going to look to continue for the finish, he's definitely going to have to look at that. But he may look to try and hide again.
Yeah. There's definitely a safety available.
I think he's looking for the pot. To be honest,
it's probably just as easy to pot this ball as it is to get safe off of it.
Yeah, that's a good shot.
Yeah, nice kiss as well.
Play the cannon well.
So
yeah, I think he's doing what you said there, Nick. I think he's looking to take these 2 yellows out the bottom, just below the black spot.
Well, will he
leave himself that ball?
Will he take the other one to the side of the black? And the only reason I say that is because
maybe not actually. Yeah.
If he goes into the cluster and doesn't land on one, he's got that as a safety net.
Yeah, so good thinking. Yeah.
I think pot the yellows, stun through the gap of yellow and black, and leave yourself an angle on the one to middle to attack that cluster.
Yeah, you could take my spot on the next event. Now, I think he's looking to hit the red here. Yeah, I was going to say, you wouldn't want to go in the middle because you could potentially leave the other yellow dead on the rail. So he's looking to hit the red, and obviously in doing so, half ball, he's going to bring both the yellows out. So good shot coming up here if he can get it right. Hit the red full ball, which is, I think the yellows still go, but it's obviously not the optimum result that he was aiming for. But he does, I think he still has a chance. One good positional shot off this bottom yellow. Looking very closely. I'm not sure if we can get a shot on those 2 yellow balls down the rail. Ooh, that's tight. He's going to know better than us, so I'm sure we'll see in a few minutes. Or less than 45 seconds. Doesn't want to be hampered by the red. That'll make it difficult. It's played onto them, so I think they must go. There's more chance on the one on the rail going than there is the other one. No, looks like the outside one. It's slightly in front actually, so it's probably the outside one that does go. Yep, good shot. These tails play ever so nicely down the rail, Nick, so can't expect him to be missing this one.
Oh, no.
Didn't watch what he was doing there, really. I think really that's a bad shot from Adam, obviously, but he shouldn't be anywhere near that red, in my opinion.
No.
He seems to have played it with plain ball, as opposed to maybe a little bit of bottom just to bring that self away. I personally, obviously, didn't expect to be anywhere near that, I don't think. And could we see a turning point in this match now? This could be a strong turning point if Adam doesn't find the pocket off this black.
Games do turn.
He's gone for the old it's an ope. Oh. No good.
Wow.
An uncharacteristic error there from Adam.
10-5 was all over.
Ronan would definitely be very happy now to be back at the table in this frame.
He'll still be comfortable. He knows that he's got the firepower to still get over the line from here. He's still got a 3-frame cushion if Ronan does clear these. But
Yeah, Adam's going to have at least, what, potentially 3 or 4 breaks to have a chance
Yeah.
at an 8-ball finish.
But you wonder
Put himself on the hill.
if that is going to come back and haunt him. Things like that can.
Yep, definitely can change the way a game runs sometimes, the dynamic of a game. It's also, as mentioned earlier as well, it can be something towards kind of your own mental, mental health, because Adam could see that as a chance of putting himself on the hill. I mean, obviously he's a experienced professional. He really should probably not be affected by that.
Yeah.
But there's a chance there that he's probably thinking, right, I should have been on the hill, and he's obviously going to be 9-6, and there's still a fair bit of pool to play, because I think it's Ronan's break next as well.
We've still got a chance of that clean left-hand sweep.
Yep, yeah, it still looks like it could be coming in. My OCD the world of good. Mind you, Leighton de Bono is 7 frames up on the 5 against Liam White.
He's going to spoil the party.
He's going to spoil the party, yeah.
So Greg Batten was on the hill against Craig Wardingham, having been behind, then he went in front 7-6, and now, as I say, it's hill. So
that's an interesting match.
Yeah. We're cheering on the West Country boy. He's a Beard Productions horse.
Yeah, he does a lot of commentary, doesn't he, Greg?
Yeah. We have a vested interest in him winning.
So Liam Dunster, he's 7-1 up on Gareth Hibbert, so at least he's not the whitewash for Gareth. But he's going to have to do some sort of tremendous comeback if he wants to, similar to a Cousins Chippy comeback, if he wants to get back into that match.
The Dave Fernandez Tom Cousins game is just getting underway, and that is across on table 4.
So that'll be on stream, I think.
One of the stream tables. Also on another one of the stream tables, Oli Bale is just about to get underway against Declan Brennan. Jamie Burnett just about to start against Shane Thompson.
Frames to 6. Time running.
That's a shame. Yep, so as Nick's just said, you can see the next losers qualification games starting there. Adam again with a really well hit break, and I really think he should be looking to put himself on the hill here, Nick.
Absolutely.
They are absolutely beautiful, the way those reds have turned out.
Yeah, that is plumb.
Pretty much the way you turn up in the clubs, they get your arm in first thing and just chuck the balls on the table. That's exactly what you do. Just look to get them in the middle of the table, and relatively routine for Adam this should be. Last ball will no doubt be the one over the middle, just above the one he's taking now. Take this yellow, this red, bottom left-hand corner.
Yeah, it's
one
just
of the reds in the middle.
It's just a dot to dot.
Yeah,
Isn't it?
Shouldn't really have any difficulty with this. He'd be very happy to take these for 10-6.
Literally, you can pop the one into bottom corner and run through 3 inches. Take the one to right middle, run through 6 inches. And it's literally just a.
I think you'll take the top one and then play the other one into the corner. There's so many ways you could do that. I mean, right or wrong, really. I don't think there is one. You know, there was there. Yeah. To that extent.
Personal preference.
It looks like might have a kick, having the white cleaned.
I thought.
So maybe what you said. Yeah, running through for that one in the middle, and then run through, leave the white somewhere near the black spot.
Yeah.
The one in the middle, the other one in the middle, same middle pocket, and the black in the corner. So
I thought
must have had a bad contact.
The cue ball stopped.
It did seem to react.
Immediately.
Yeah.
As soon as it made contact, I expected to roll through the pace he played it, because he didn't play it with stun, but it just seemed to die immediately.
Yeah. He's played a relatively plain ball, but it was very, very simple, straightforward shot. So, yeah, I think he's definitely got a bit of a bad contact there. Again, maybe, it's little things like that, Nick. They happen in matches like this, and it can turn things around. I mean, all right, Adam's still in a commanding position really with his finish, but you know, just little things like that they can sometimes throw a little bit of a spanner in the works. We wasn't expecting him to miss that ball, you know, in the last frame. Well, to go behind that red in the last frame.
Oh, there's clearly passes in the bottom right, which makes his job a lot simpler. I didn't realise it passed the bottom right.
Yeah, that makes it a hell of a lot easier.
I was wondering whether he was going to have to go up table and play the one to centre next, but as you can see there, clearly goes.
Perfect. So really, this should have been the frame for the victory.
Yeah.
But I mean, right, still very much in a commanding position. One frame for the win, but if he hadn't have made that simple mistake with a positional shot in the last frame, then he would be now sitting pretty and waiting for his last 16 match. So Greg Batten, Craig Waddingham still Hill. Doesn't look like there's any progress in that game just yet. And Liam Dunster, Gareth Hibbert still 7-1. Maybe Gareth has decided to try and, well, I say, slow Liam down to a certain extent.
17th frame, Ronan McCarthy to break, trailing 10 frames to 6, time running. Down on the break.
So that break off from Ronan. Could that be the last one of this match for him? So that break off from Ronan, fine in the top right hand corner pocket. It's left Adam a chance.
It's going to be curtains now, I think.
One difficult yellow. It is on the right hand side of the table. May look, well, it does definitely go in the middle.
Just finished. Touch low on this one.
I think it's straight, to be honest. Yeah, I think he wanted a bit more angle than this. Probably have to force it now. Yeah, and he has done. He's definitely giving himself more work to do than he would have liked. I think he may have to take this one at the bottom now, drop the one in the middle, because there's not a lot he can do from that one, and look at maybe playing the back double on the yellow.
Yeah, I think I was just thinking that myself. There's no way to get from one ball, from the left hand ball to the right hand ball, or vice versa. So
yeah, exactly.
I think you're right. He's going to have to double one. And take the one to left middle and double the one towards the right hand side.
Yep, he's looking.
But he's just got no choice.
Yeah, it's from the back double though. It's wherever the black will go. So I mean, if he makes contact on the red, he might be able to use the red to hold and put it back in the middle, but it's whether it will go.
I think it goes right middle anyway. I think you can get the potting angle for right middle, so you could come around.
If he can come behind, like in between the two reds off the double.
Yeah.
He's got to hit this well. Big bag as well though, because if he does slightly go high with the yellow, as long as he's not too high,
Could get a
it
glance.
could go in glancing off the red as well. Obviously, I don't want to give it playing for that, because that'll mean he's hit the yellow too thin. So that may mean he runs out of position on the black. So he's obviously looking to pot the yellow clean, really.
You have to play it with a bit of pace, because he needs to get that cue ball off 2 cushions and out.
Yeah. These occasions.
Somewhere around about the black spot would be perfect, wouldn't he? He's not going to find the black spot, but along that kind of line.
Yeah, along those lines, yeah, definitely so. I mean, these occasions, if you hit it too hard, he could see the old Cadbury's parrot. And he's going off. See, he made contact with the red on the bottom side of the table, so he decided obviously to play it hard, but he's hit that red, and that's ended up going off. So, another chance to Ronan here. Going back to what I was mentioning earlier, Nick, you know, if he'd took that frame before, he wouldn't now be in this situation, you know, facing 10-7, he'd have been done and dusted.
Yeah. So only, well, 3 games. There's 2 games in winners' qualification ongoing. This one and the Leiden de Bono Liam White game, which started late, started about 45 minutes after the other games. Everything else is concluded. Craig Waddingham did the job over Greg Batten. He won that deciding frame. So it's farewell to Greg. And Neil Rayburn, Jake McCartney is tied up at 6 each. And then we go into losers qualification, which is currently ongoing. Tom Cousins, Dave Fernandez, 0-0. Sam Bircher, Liam Dunstan, 0-0. Shane Thompson 1-0 up over Jamie Burnett. Declan Brennan 0-0 against Oli Bell. And a couple of games still to be decided. Darren McVicker against Craig Waddingham. That one's not started yet, and I would suggest the only reason that one's not started, I think they may put it on the main arena. I reckon that one could be the next main arena game.
That'll be a good match.
That should be a good game.
Yeah, definitely worth arena worthy, so to speak.
Yeah.
The Tom Cousins, Dave Fernandez game, I'm not sure if it was 1-1 rather than being 0-0. I'm not sure if it's that happened very quickly. A frame each.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Craig Waddingham game, Darren Vicker, he's just beaten me well, not just beaten me, but beat me in the losers round, and he was queuing so well, and then shortly after he dispatched me, he played Rob Warren and beat Rob Warren 8-2 as well. So Craig's definitely firing. There's no doubt about that. And previous semi-finalist a couple of times, I think, of the series. So
2 players with a lot of firepower.
Oh, fair doubt. He's tremendous cueist as well. You know, doesn't practice much though. I was talking to him after the match, and got 4 children, so he says he doesn't really find the time to practice. But I think he's natural. He's one of these players. You see them, to be fair, Nick. You get a lot of players that have a natural ability, and you just put a cue in their arm and, well, the hand, should I say, and they just seem to be able to play regardless.
It shows you the importance of that winners qualification game. I mean, Darren McVicker was a couple of frames up on Drew Hughes and looking to be favourite, and he's lost 11-9. Drew Hughes has gone back to his hotel room and is probably having a nice brew while watching Coronation Street or whatever it is on a X Factor or whatever it is on a Saturday night.
Saturday night, yeah.
And Darren's having to face Craig Waddingham.
That's it, yeah. It's going to put a drain on him, you know, because potentially could be facing another couple of hours. So, talking towards 11 o'clock, you could be there before you get your head down and get a bit of a chill out for the next day. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, the last 16 matches play Sunday, 11 o'clock. So tomorrow, 11 o'clock. As we rightly said there, Nick, you know, it makes all that difference getting yourself back. Probably grab some food, you know, get a bit of a chill out and relax. Whereas the extra 2.5, 3 hours potentially, could be longer, on the table, can make all that difference for the following day, feeling a bit more refreshed.
Tom Cousins 2-1 against Dave Fernandez in that losers qualification game.
Shane Thompson taking the first frame against Jamie Burnett, as we can see that. Lloyd DeMono has gone 8-6 up against Liam White. Again, another lad that will have a significant amount of support here this weekend.
Yeah, local
being
club.
obviously his local club. Liam's been playing exceptionally well as well, taking a few days off work, I believe, to put some practice in. And again, I was unfortunate to draw him in the first round, and he dispatched me. Played very well. I think he had about, well, he did 6 A balls off his own, 2 off mine. So, very impressive.
So here we go, big break this one for Adam, and they've come out lovely again. Look at these yellows.
Yeah, just got to try and disturb the black, I think.
Yeah, the black's tied up. Timed that lovely, didn't he? Just timed it beautifully off the front.
Yeah, crunched that, absolutely got through that really, really well. He's broken really well, to be fair, the entire match. Yeah, I think he's had 1 or 2 that he may have not timed as sweetly as he would like, but majority of his breaks have been pretty well, to be honest. Gone pretty well. So, looking at yellows. And he's trying to leave himself the angle, and he has there. I think he can get the black out now off this shot. Looks a bit straight, may be able to pinch the pocket. Just making sure he leaves himself on a yellow. But because he's doing it nice and early, removing, obviously trying to get his bad ball out early as possible, he's got more margin, obviously, to be left himself on a shot afterwards. More opportunity, should I say. Yep. So, he's done what he wanted to do. Got a nice, the yellow as we see, in the middle of the right hand side of the table. And that'll be the ball he goes for, unless the other yellow goes past the red. I don't think it does. So if he gets this one right, you'd favour him to take this match, Nick. But looking probably stunning off the rail and coming in between the 2 yellows.
Yeah, just thinking the same thing.
Giving himself a choice of the 2, but obviously we're looking to take the one down there at the extreme top end of the table. Got to cue this though. Got to get reaction. The under it, he could find himself behind that yellow, or if it decelerates on the shot.
Nice.
Played it very well. Didn't decelerate for the. I'm not sure if we, obviously if you've played before, but for the people that don't know, if they're watching, obviously don't play the sport. Deceleration. It's a pool player's nightmare. It's very easy to do. You know, it's just when you don't finish the shot. You know, when you try and get through the white ball and go through the white as accurately as possible and with the same speed. Whereas sometimes you can be a little bit, you know, tense on the shot or a little bit nervous, so to speak, and you can just, as you deliver the cue, it's kind of slow down through the shot, and you don't get the reaction on the white ball as you want. And as most pool players will say to you, you'll hear it quite a lot, especially if you watch snooker and things like that as well. You'll hear them that say they decelerate on the shot. 9 times out of 10 it ends up with them having missing the ball by a considerable margin, or it just means that they don't get the required spin on the cue ball. So there we go.
This is nice. Very nice clearance.
Very nice finish.
He's playing well and it's looking ominous.
There we go.
Very nice. That's the win for Adam Davis. He sweeps Ronan McCarthy to one side. Ronan McCarthy will go across into losers qualification, where he will play.
He plays Brian Halcrow.
He played Brian Halcrow,
Yeah.
so it doesn't get any easier for either one of those.
No.
So if you want to see the draw, have a look on qscore.com. We're going to grab Adam Davis and have a chat with him in the interview room in just a couple minutes. But until then, thanks very much to you, Alex, for joining
No,
us.
thanks, Nick. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah,
Really
very
enjoyed
much
it.
so, yeah.
Maybe I'll do another one
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
tonight or another time.
You're very good at it, mate. Very good.
Thank you.
So we'll be in the interview room, and then we'll be back on the main arena table with that losers qualification game, and that will conclude the action for today. We'll see you very shortly. joined by Adam after that win. Adam, that's a good win against Ronan McCarthy. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, someone I haven't played for a long time, to be honest with you, because obviously they're dividing the tour. So you know, I haven't played him for. It's got to be a good, probably 8-9 years.
Really.
So I even said to him before the match, said sort of long time no play, because you know it's. But yeah, I made a few mistakes. It wasn't perfect pool as you know as I sort of strive for, but you know, it's go over the line.
Yeah, that's the important thing. I mean, we see so many contrasts in styles, but actually that was probably a clash of styles, because you're both really gritty, determined players, aren't you?
Yeah, we both thought similar game plan. We were both like methodical in the ways we go about the finishes.
Yeah.
We'll both play sort of percentage safety shots at times when needed, rather than pushing the boat out.
Yeah.
So just very similar styles, really.
Yeah. I mean, bit of a resurgence from you as well, isn't it? I mean, you're never off the scene, but you know, deep run in the World Championships, and a good run here again. You're always going deep, and you've not had an easy weekend, have you?
No, I've had a bit of a tough tour, really, but yeah, I mean, it's one of them, isn't it, really? If you break well and give yourself the chances, it doesn't really matter who you're playing, because you know, if you can get the finishes, if you give yourself the chances, then you know, it doesn't really matter.
John Rowe, obviously, you were back-to-back world champions, weren't you? Beat him in the first round, and then Dom Cooney, the recent world finalist. So it's another good run. Yeah.
I mean, against John, the first match, you know, I was in control of the match, and then I just let it get away from me. I ended up going 9-7 down, and to be honest, I potted a great black to go 9-8, and then obviously I managed to run the match out then from that point. But yeah, I could have been dead and buried really in the first round. But it's how this tournament goes. There's never an easy round. So.
Yeah. One of the strongest points of your game there was the break. Is that something you work on? No,
not at all. There's not really any part of my game I really work on, to be honest with you. I don't really. I play my own all the time. I don't really practice that much. You know, I've got a tournament coming up. I might go in the club and just have, you know, an hour here and there on my own. I've held the game against Liam White, who's having a good run in the tournament actually. But yeah, like I say, I don't really practice against anybody, to be honest. I just play on my own. But yeah, I've been a sort of rich vein of form recently, to be honest. I think I've just got my confidence up a little bit and feel like I'm queuing well, and you know, I just want to keep going really.
And long may it last. You're in the last 16, so best of luck in your game tomorrow morning.
Thank you.
Best of luck, Adam.
Thank
Cheers.
You. Thanks.
As I said, I think that Darren McVicker, Craig Waddingham's Waddingham game is coming up, but they hadn't decided yet. But we'll be back on the main arena table with that losers qualification game very soon.